What's up, guys? Welcome back to Maimi Dolphins Syndicate. As always, I'm your co-host, Donovan Quick. And so this morning, we're going to be going over kind of what happened a little bit yesterday. You guys probably already know what happened. I'm just going to give you a brief summary. And then we're going to be going forward and looking forward to what we should see today, what we want to see, what we should look for. As for yesterday in practice, obviously, Braylon Sanders went down with what looked like a knee injury. Hopefully he's okay. We have no status update on that as of right now. Also, the offense just up and down throughout the entire day. Tua looked good, then he looked bad, then he looked rushing. Mike White will throw an absolute dot, then a terrible pass. Skyler kind of remains mid and then has a bad pass. It's kind of crazy. Tyreek Hill really stood out on the day, and that was something. Another thing, Bijan, who's listed as the third string running back right now, we all know that's a lie. So that's why we don't really take the first preseason depth chart too seriously, because we all know Bijan's not third string. But Bijan used his speed, his catching ability, and kind of tore up our the middle of our field pretty much. He beat Noah and David Long for a touchdown in red zone drills. But our defense looked pretty solid besides, a couple of those little things. And it really wasn't much. Especially we got sacks. The offensive line, absolute blunder. And we've talked about this. And it's just, it's sickening really to watch. If you watch the first few training camps, they had so many false starts. They didn't have the rest there at that time. And then they brought in the rest and they had multiple false starts. And it's insane. And then, Tua was sacked on a few on a few of the plays. And really one of them, the blitzer wasn't even picked up. So you kind of go through it a little bit and is that offensive line? Is that Tua? It's both. Tua in his pre-snap read should be able to see that there's an extra blitzer and be able to communicate that with his offensive line. Now, do I know if he did that or not? No, I don't. I'm sorry. But it's more likely that he didn't communicate that with his offensive line than absolutely no one picking it up whatsoever. Because I refuse to believe that these professional athletes are that dumb that they're just told, hey, watch for that guy, and then no one gets that guy. I just refuse to believe it. So I'm going to put that on Tua that he just did not pick up the blitz on that occasion. However, when you're facing, 4-man fronts, 5-man, and it's 1-on-1, or even 5-on-4, guys, you gotta give Tua some time. Give Tua time. Tua time gon' shine. Simple. Shout out Solo D. Did not say that lyric good whatsoever or correctly whatsoever. But my point being is that it was such a mix of things. And that's also, Tua's been rushing in the 2-minute drills, not hitting his passes, rushing throws, and it's showing. He hasn't really performed good in a 2-minute drill. He hasn't scored a touchdown in a 2-minute drill. Now he's gotten in field goal position, and that's great and all, but we want to see these tutties. We want to finish off these drives with 7, not 3. Now, guys, it is also, second full week of training camp. So I'm not going to over-exaggerate this. I want him to get into shape. And another thing is Tua may be trying some things in practice that he wouldn't normally try in a game. Tua's known for doing that because he wants to test his limits. Now, that's also not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing for a quarterback to do it. I'd rather him go out and throw 5 interceptions in practice and then throw 0 in a game, or 1 or 2 in a game, rather than him throwing 0 in practice and then he goes out and throws 3 in a game, because he doesn't know his limits. He doesn't know where exactly he could squeeze a ball into at a certain time. So that's kind of your summary for yesterday. Now to get into what we want to see today, basically I'm going to go offense first. So offense, I want to see the offensive line shore itself up. I want to see Tua command of the offensive line. I want to see him, dialing up his protection and doing it well. That is one of the first things that if you watched quarterback, or if you watched any of the Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce podcast, they talk about, or when Patrick Mahomes was on it, he talks about all the time, getting his protection cards and just going over that and drilling that into his offensive line, drilling that into his own brain. I want to see Tua do the same thing and take that next step. Make sure he is protected. Protecting yourself with taking jiu-jitsu, I mean, that just means you're able to take a hit now. Cool, you're able to take a hit. I don't want you hit, though. I want you to dial up your protection of the line, and I want you to not take a hit, period. Other than that, running game still kind of struggling unless it's to the boundary. Savon Ahmed looked really good. Mostert looked really good today. Jeff Wilson returned to practice. I didn't hear too much about him. Waddle, Tyreek, just absolute nastiness all around. I mean, it's just what it is. Easy E returned to practice for the first time since his injury, and he looked really good, high pointing a couple of balls and just bringing it down like we know he can do. And that is what I'm looking forward to in his part in this offense. He's going to be the one to replace Gesicki, and I'm really looking forward to that. On the defensive side of the ball, what I'm going to look for, just the different ways that we can dial up pressure and the coverages. We had a lot of success. We had a few sacks today. Yesterday, we didn't have any interceptions that I know of. I know it was fairly close for Igbo getting an interception, fairly close for Cam Smith getting an interception. And those are two guys obviously competing for the number 2 corner position. Now, if you watched or if you looked at the depth chart, Jacob went over it yesterday as well. You guys can go check out that video. But Igbo was listed behind. It went X, Jalen, Nick Needham, Kader Kohu, Igbo. Who was next to Igbo? And it was someone else, and then I think it was Keon Crossan, and then Cam Smith was after all of those guys. Now, so obviously Keon Crossan's been out, so Cam Smith kind of competing with Igbo to get on up there since everyone else in front of them are all injured. We know Cater's going to be the slot corner when, he'll go boundary when needed. But, I think they prefer for him to stick it in the slot and specialize in the slot. And I really want to see how our linebackers respond to how they got torched. There's not another way for me to put it, by Bijan yesterday. I mean, so we know as Dolphins fans, we watched last year, we watched how just the underneath stuff just absolutely tore us up brutally. Channing Tindall let up a good run, or a good pass to Bijan. David Long and Noah Igbenogany let some passes go yesterday. I want to see shore that up and make sure that we can contain the middle of the field and make sure that, we don't, as Dolphins, the offense, going against our offense, we don't really tear up, the lower middle of the field. But that's always where we get torn up on defense. So when you're going up against our defense every single day, it's easy to not practice that because that's not what we do. So these joint practices are key for that, key for competition, key for getting in shape and game ready. This practice and yesterday's practice are way more important to the Dolphins staff, to the players, to the coaches than this preseason game on Friday. And that's just me being blatantly honest, just straight out the gate. It's more important. You're going to see a lot more things. Now, it's not as, there's not as much contact, if any contact. However, these guys are competing. They're going hard at each other. And it's just, you get to see who these guys really are besides going up against your own team. Especially, as fans in the stands, me and you, when you're up there, it's kind of like you root for the offense a little bit, but when the defense makes a good play, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. But, you kind of, it's tough because, You want the offense to do good, you want the defense to do good, but you want the offense just a little bit more. Hopefully we'll be able to get to see more. That did not make any sense whatsoever, but hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more improvement from yesterday. Now, given we did dominate practice yesterday, if I say so myself, but I want to see more dominance, especially against a Falcons team that is projected to be between 25 and 32, and the Dolphins are supposed to be top 5. So I want to see that significant difference grow in practice today. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you like this kind of content. Just let me know, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, everything else. Also, once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be releasing some merch. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.